And of course it's Kim. It took exactly 7 words spoken into a microphone at an open-air fan stage at Silverstone for Lewis Hamilton to completely dismantle an 11-year media iron curtain. For over a decade, the 7-time Formula One world champion has treated his personal life like classified state secrets, repeatedly shutting down reporters, evading cameras, and explicitly stating that he learned the hard way what happens when your relationships become public property. But when you are dating the most prominent reality television asset and business mogul on Earth, even the most disciplined athletic discipline eventually bends to the gravity of modern celebrity culture. What happened at the British Grand Prix fan Q&A wasn't just a light-hearted exchange between a driver and a broadcaster. It was the moment one of the most protected personal brands in sports officially surrendered to the high-exposure landscape of the Kardashian universe. The sequence of events that led to this admission unfolded in front of thousands of fans who noticed a distinct shift in the veteran driver's demeanor. Sitting on stage alongside fellow British drivers Lando Norris and George Russell, Hamilton was hit with a blunt question from the crowd regarding his visibly improved mood this season. The fan asked outright if a new girlfriend was behind the newfound joy. Before Hamilton could deploy his usual well-practiced deflection, broadcaster David Croft seized the moment to inject a heavy dose of pop culture context. Croft brought up the now infamous viral blunder from the Monaco Grand Prix, where Kim Kardashian accidentally grabbed a post-race towel meant for Mercedes rookie Kimi Antonelli to wipe her face. Croft joked to the laughing crowd that the fan just needed to know if Kim required 2 towels or not. Hamilton laughed, initially launched into a professional monologue about how profoundly his life has changed since transitioning to Ferrari, calling it the most iconic team of all time, and admitting his first year in red had been incredibly tough but rewarding. But right before handing over the microphone, he looked back at the crowd, smiled, and delivered the definitive line confirming his happiness with Kim Kardashian. The speed with which those 7 words turned into a raging social media debate over the last 72 hours shows just how volatile this specific crossover of subcultures really is. On TikTok and X, racing purists and entertainment commentators have split into 2 fiercely opposing camps. Within the Formula One community, there is a palpable sense of anxiety regarding the sheer volume of non-sporting attention this relationship brings to the paddock. Viral clips of the Silverstone exchange are being flooded with comments from legacy racing fans who view the Kardashian family as the ultimate emblem of oversaturated, hyper-manufactured influencer media. For these viewers, the fear is that Hamilton's final chapters in a legendary racing career will be overshadowed by the reality television cameras that inevitably trail her wherever she goes. They point back to the Monaco Grand Prix, where Sky Sports reporter Martin Brundle was left hanging on the grid while attempting to interview her, as an example of how the traditional, merit-based access of sports journalism is being disrupted by a different kind of media royalty that operates entirely on its own terms. Conversely, a completely different narrative is dominating lifestyle forums and celebrity commentary spaces. To this audience, Hamilton's public acknowledgement is being celebrated as a healthy. This shift has a profound impact on Hamilton's legacy and reputation, pushing him past the boundary of a sports icon into a completely different tier of global celebrity. For years, Hamilton has used his platform to advocate for diversity in motorsport, high fashion, and environmental causes, carefully cultivating an image as a progressive, forward-thinking global citizen. Aligning his personal life with a family that is frequently criticized for excessive consumerism and hyper-visible capitalism introduces a complicated friction into his brand. Every public statement he makes from this point forward will be filtered through this new association. Yet, it also makes him infinitely more visible to a massive American market that Formula One has been desperately trying to capture for years. It turns every Grand Prix into an entertainment crossover event, ensuring that even when Ferrari has a difficult weekend on the track, Hamilton remains the undisputed center of the cultural conversation away from it. What this situation truly highlights is the total breakdown of the traditional boundary between an athlete's professional duty and their personal identity in the age of vertical video and instant engagement. Hamilton can no longer rely on the corporate buffer of a team press release to manage his narrative. The fact that a sports broadcaster felt comfortable using a podium towel mistake as a setup for a relationship question during a serious race weekend proves that the entertainment ecosystem has completely swallowed the sporting world whole. The public is no longer satisfied with watching these drivers do 22 rounds around a circuit. They want the behind-the-scenes reality show that anchors the human element to the machines. Hamilton's choice to lean into the joke, rather than shutting it down, suggests that he is fully aware of this shifting landscape and has decided that fighting the media tide is no longer worth the energy. Ultimately, this rare public comment leaves the entertainment and sporting world staring at an entirely new dynamic as the season progresses toward its winter break. By choosing to validate the relationship on his native turf at Silverstone, Hamilton has signaling a definitive end to his era of total romantic secrecy, setting up a fascinating precedent for how high-profile athletes manage their lives under the modern microscope. The lingering question moving forward isn't whether Hamilton can maintain his focus on bringing Ferrari back to the front of the grid, but whether his legendary discipline can successfully coexist with a media machine that has spent 2 decades turning privacy into the ultimate public commodity. As the circus moves to the next circuit, the racing world is left waiting to see if this newfound personal happiness will translate into the ruthless edge needed on the track, or if the 7-time champion has finally found something away from the asphalt that matters more than the checkered flag.